It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, filling in as guest hosts on the 1st of July. It's 4th of July weekend. Can't believe it's already July. July already. Yeah. So Jamie was able to be the CEO of him and take an early vacay, and so he asked me to fill in, and I'm very honored. And this is the second half of That Business Show, where business becomes show business. And our first guest today is Ron Klein. He's an ordinary man who accomplishes extraordinary things. He is a problem solver. Every solution has resulted in monumental change, either in new invention or a simple solution. His innovative ideas have changed the world. He's the inventor of the magnetic strip on the credit card validity checking system, and the developer of computerized systems for real estate MLS multiple listing services, voice response for the banking industry, and bond quotation and trade information for the New York Stock Exchange. Ron's latest patent is for a device that enables a visually impaired person the ability to identify an item when in physical range of that item. It utilizes a smartphone and special coded adhesive labels. Ron is a strategic advisor, consultant, mentor, problem solver, and speaker. And wow, welcome, Ron Klein.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me today. This is my fourth visit to That Business Show, and I'm delighted and honored.
I am honored to be here today to have this opportunity to meet you and learn more about you. It's very exciting. And everybody takes for granted that magnetic strip on the back of that credit card and don't realize that you're the guy. You're that guy.
Well, there's an interesting story that goes along with that.
I'd love to hear that.
My first thought is when you were announcing me, when does this guy sleep?
Yeah.
I mean, does he sleep?
You've done a lot.
Well, it was interesting. When that came about in the early 60s, when someone wanted to make a charge purchase, that's what they called it, the plastic credit card was only an embossed number and the embossed name. And the credit card companies would give the merchants a big, long list every month of those people that had questionable accounts. And the poor merchant would have to look through this long list every time he wanted to make a sale. And a large department store came to me and said, how do you solve this problem? And I simplified it. And I said, well, why don't we just take all these numbers, put it into some kind of memory system, and give the merchant a little keypad to connect to the memory system, and he would just key in the number, and if it didn't come up, person was good to go. So you just have to write out the slip. And that was the first point of sale. That was back in 1964.
Wow.
Then in 1966, I figured, geez, let's put a little intelligence into that piece of plastic. And right around that time, reel-to-reel tape recorders came out. Now, I don't know if everybody in your listening audience remembers reel-to-reel tape recorders.
I do remember.
Well, that was pretty simple. You can put music or voice on a little piece of tape, and it had a motor that would move the tape by a little reading head, and it would play. And I figured, geez, what a great idea. I know how that works. If I took a little piece of that tape, pasted it on the back of the credit card, and recorded the account number on that little piece of tape, and then built something that would mimic the tape recorder and make you, here comes the motion, make you the motor.
Oh,
and that was the simple invention of the magnetic strip on the back of the credit card.
That's just amazing. What a great story.
Just simplifying something, and it's been around for a long time.
It sure has. And even it's even expanded, would you say, like in how it's used now?
It has so many uses because they've can increase the density, and then that introduced something else called the little chip on the card, but we won't talk about that right now.
Okay. All right.
If you insist, I'll talk about it later, but not right now.
What I'm curious about is that when you started coming up with this technology way back in the 60s, and you mentioned a database, right, where all the card information, card holders information was. This is pre-internet, so how did each store was it sent out to each store at a certain time of the month or something?
It was very antiquated. Once a month, the credit card companies would send out their list to every merchant, and this would be a monstrous book. And it was chronologically in order, the numbers, and the merchant would have to run his finger down and look through every number before he could complete the sale.
But when you fixed that solution, the second part of that, you said it was all done electronically, or?
It was done electronically. That's why the patent took 35 pages to write it up.
Oh, wow.
But that was the second thing. But the first was at the point of sale. It was actually shortening the process and making it a less astringent on the merchant.
And they also had the slider, right? That they had to slide they had to use the paper, slide it across.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing that they had. They would write up the little receipt, and it was the 3M paper, and then they would put it into the little slider, the embosser, and when he would key in the account number, if it came back okay, then he would slide it and finish the sale. It was a very slow process, especially around holiday time.
Oh, I bet. Can you imagine the lines that we have today and still waiting for them to slide?
Yeah, we complain about Black Friday now. I can only imagine back then.
Now it's just gray.
When did they stop using the slider, though? I mean, I remember seeing that at least in the 90s. I mean,
well, that was still used as a portable device. If somebody went out in the field to like a flea market or something like that, they would still use the manual system.
But now you have mobile.
Oh yeah, the little card slider
transaction.
plugs right into your phone. Yeah. It's fairly new.
And then I became pretty much known as a problem solver because I solved this magnificent
That's a
major
huge problem. Yeah.
So the National Board of Realtors came to me in 1967, and I developed MLS for real estate, and that was a nice project. And I don't want to take up too much time, so that was a quickie. Then I also developed a voice response for the banking industry, where we would key in with a touch-tone phone your account number and get it back in synthesized voice. And my company just kept growing and growing, and I took the company public. And the greatest story was I finally became very close to retirement age of 34. That was pretty funny. And I was offered by a very large insurance company to be purchased and bought out.
By Ron's standards, I should have retired 2 years ago.
So I retired at age 34, and that lasted about three months because I became very depressed. I would watch everybody go to work in the morning, and here I was home. How much can you fish? So I decided I was going to go back to work, and that was really the start of my career where I really enjoyed developing and creating. And I got tied up with Western Union. I was purchasing teletype machines. That was before email. We used Twix and Telex, and they were recycling teletype machines and refurbishing them, and I started purchasing those, and I figured, geez, what a great idea, because now I don't have to have all those hundreds of employees I had before, and I could be my own boss. And right around that time, PC clones came out, because IBM came out with their PC, and then everybody started building clones, and they needed a device to talk to the clone PC, and the teletype was the device of choice. And I figured, great, I'm going to start buying a lot of these teletypes from Western Union. I took them home and put them down in my basement, cleaned them up with mineral spirits, and oiled them up, and bought a compressor, put them in my garage, and then I would sell them. And it was a great little business. I loved it. And one day a gentleman came, this is a nice story. A gentleman came to buy one of my teletypes in the garage, and he said, excuse me, can I use your men's room? And I said, this is my home. We have a powder room, but you're free to use it. And he went into the powder room, did what he had to do, came out, bought the teletype, and I was delighted. And then 5 minutes later, my wife of 57 years, my delightful bride, came running out, and she said it this way: you take your teletypes, you take your compressor, you take your mineral spirits, because it was stinking up the house, and get the heck out of this house. That guy had lousy aim. Sorry about that. So that was really the start of my career, where I opened up a little shop in an office, and the rest of the story is interesting.
Yeah, the grandfather of possibilities, right?
It was the grandfather of possibilities, because I started selling teletypes, and I was in the parts business, and I got an interesting call from the New York Stock Exchange. And they said, we're expanding our trading floor. Do I have a little bit more time left? Okay. We're expanding our trading floor, and we understand we went to Western Union to buy some of the special teletypes that we need. And they said they sold all of those teletypes to you on a bid. And they said, please come to the New York Stock Exchange. We want to talk to you. And I was delighted. So I went to the exchange, made a deal with him. I gave him a full payout lease, and I took over the maintenance on those machines as a contractor.
Wow.
So here it was. I just, by selling my company and starting all over again and just paying attention, being smart, daring, and different. And I'll tell you what that means. Being smart is not having a PhD from Harvard, but really paying attention and being in the present. So looking for opportunities, taking advantage of the opportunity, and then being daring is don't be afraid to make a mistake. If it's the wrong color, repaint it. And the last thing is provide benefits, not ideas. And that was how I got started with the New York Stock Exchange, being in the maintenance business.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Ron Klein, the grandfather of possibilities. You're listening to That Business Show, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
And good morning. May find some delays on State Road 580 near US 19. Crash there. Fire trucks on scene of this one. Also one on westbound 38th Avenue North at 58th Street and eastbound Almerton at 49th Street over in Tampa. Crash on eastbound Broadway at 47th. That is approaching 50th. Left lane still blocked there. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. 20 years ago, when my mom had lung cancer, she didn't have many choices. But today, you do. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, please visit standuptocancer.org/lung cancer to learn more.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds and then a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, high 90. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 79. Tomorrow, a 30% rain chance, high 90.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Good morning. I'm Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, and I'm here guest hosting for Jamie Maloney, who is taking an early break because he is the CEO of him, and he can do that for the 4th of July weekend. In the studio today, we have Ron Klein as our guest, the grandfather of possibilities. And Ron, earlier you were talking about all these amazing things that you have invented. But along the way, you've had some challenges you faced. Tell us about some of the challenges you faced.
Absolutely, many challenges. Well, the one I can center on right away is when I first got this contract with the New York Stock Exchange to maintain the equipment I just sold to them. I was pretty excited because it was a great opportunity. I lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The New York Stock Exchange was 100 miles away, and I had to commute every day because I had to be there extremely early. And I only had one technician to maintain the equipment. If any piece of it would fail, I'd have to take it back to my little shop in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. My biggest challenge, and I just got that contract in late 70s, there was a fuel crisis. And I couldn't carry my equipment back and forth to the New York Stock Exchange because unless you had an odd or an even license plate, you can only get 5 gallons of fuel a day. I had a 200-mile round trip on the turnpike. How am I going to solve this problem? New York Stock Exchange didn't want to hear about it. And then I figured there's a gift behind every challenge. You really have to simplify it and say, what is the issue? And I remembered I had purchased a diesel-operated car many, many years ago, prior to the contract, and the salesperson said, Ron, I got something interesting to tell you. You always like to hear about interesting things. Diesel fuel for an automobile is the same as home heating fuel. In fact, it's even a little bit cheaper, but it's the same as home heating fuel, but the home heating fuel coagulates in cold weather. But I thought that would be interesting. Well, many, many years later, here I am. How do I get back and forth to the New York Stock Exchange to carry the equipment? I remembered what he told me. So, but it coagulates. So I went to Pep Boys. That was a little chain store that sold automotive parts. Yeah. And they had a product that it came in a little dropper, and if you drop that into the home heating fuel, it would thin it out and it wouldn't coagulate. So I called a local oil burner company, and I said, I need a 275-gallon tank in my garage because I'm going to become a new customer, and I would like you to deliver that right away. They delivered that tank. I put it up on 6-foot stilts, and I went to Pep Boys, got that little magic fluid, called the oil company and said, okay, I'm ready for my first 275 gallons. They said, great, Mr. Klein. Filled me up. The next day, I had 275 gallons. I went and bought a little hose and a nozzle. I was the only guy on the turnpike for a month. How about that?
That is why you are the problem solver.
So that was my first challenge. Second big challenge was while I was on the trading floor every day and I'm walking around and seeing all these opportunities, and I was developing quite a bit, I saw that on the bond trading floor, it was still an auction market where they were all on telephones and throwing their hands up and down. And I said, geez, they've automated the equity market, stocks. Why not bonds? So I went to the exchange and I came up with this idea, let's automate it. And they said, Ron, we've been doing it like this for 205 years. They're not going to change now. And I said, well, if I could automate it in a simple way, would you give me an exclusive license to disseminate corporate listed bonds for the New York Stock Exchange? They said, certainly, it'll never work. I signed the contract. I built this little filter system that if I put it on their main line, it would filter out the bonds, put it on a display unit, and it would work. So now traders could trade in their offices. They don't have to come and trade on the bond floor. I started calling the bond traders, and if I wasn't buying or selling a bond in 5 seconds, they would hang up on me. I said, oh my God, I invested all this time, effort, and money. What do I do now? I made best friends with one of the leading bond traders on Wall Street. And I said, I'm going to give you this magic box with a video terminal for 30 days free, and I'll run a telephone line into your office. Would you use it? He said, certainly. Well, he started trading from his office, and he's trading ahead of time from the people on the bond trading floor because he has the information earlier. His phone rang off the hook, and they're saying, Joe, how are you doing this? You're topping every bond in the last week. We can't even buy a bond on the bond trading floor. He says, oh, you need one of those little Ron Klein boxes. My phone rang off the hook. In 90 days, I had thousands of traders calling me saying, we need this box. And I figured, well, these were fat days on Wall Street because it was 1983 then. I figured opportunity.
Oh, the good old days.
I had a tremendous
Trading
challenge.
Places comes to mind.
It was a
Movie.
challenge. What should I do? So I said, well, you have to join my club. It's $10,000 a member to join my club.
Nice.
And they said, well, we can do that in a week. We can make that up in a week. And I said, fantastic. I said, but however, now you've got to buy this little box. Now, the box cost me $100 to build. And they said, no, I'm sorry. This was the big challenge. We don't buy anything on Wall Street. We only rent equipment. I figured, okay. I just made a lot of money collecting their $10,000 checks. Okay, how about $300 a month? They said, fantastic. We love it. And that lasted for a quarter of a century.
That is an amazing
that's
story.
That's how I overcame a challenge that almost fell flat on the floor.
So earlier we were talking on Focus Friday about being prepared for success. Were you prepared for success?
I never had a strategic plan, but I was always prepared for success by simplifying the issues. And I learned that in grade school. Now here's something for everybody out there. You have to identify what is the issue, what's the given, what's the solution you're looking for, whether it be personal or business. Don't get caught up in the minutia, the journey in the middle, because that's where you have the challenges. As you reach those challenges, if it's a wrong color, paint it a different color. If it was a mistake, you did something wrong, don't do that again. Try something else. But never lose sight as to what's the given and what's the solution you're looking for. And you'll always be ready for a challenge.
That is great advice. Great advice. We always talk about that people buy the why and the result. They don't buy the how. They buy the why and the result. And that you're a perfect example of why that works. You know, you find the solution, you have a result that happens, you have the why, and it all comes together. I think you're an amazing problem solver.
Well,
yeah, Ron's excellent at showing me how much time I've wasted playing video games and doing basically nothing.
Well, and it goes back to what I said before. You have to be smart, daring, and different. And that's just simple
Well, I've
technology.
got 2 of the 3.
Yeah, but, being smart is just being aware, paying attention, and know what's happening around you. And then with that, you're learning something new every day. You don't have to be a scholar. And then don't be afraid to make mistakes, because as long as you don't make the same one twice. And then keep in mind, you must provide benefits. Ideas are great, but they don't sell. Benefits sell.
Thank you so much, Ron Klein, for being our guest today. I am so privileged to be able to be here today to interview you. This is just an amazing opportunity for myself. So thank you so much for being here today. And you're listening to That Business Show, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Bill Meyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Bill Meyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
That crash was in the left-hand lane. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson, New York. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Lead Safe America. More than 1 in 3 American kids has lead in their blood. No level of lead is safe. Lead poisoning causes learning disabilities and behavioral disorders. Has your child been tested? Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org.
1250 winds, weather center forecast. Low 90s today for the high under partly sunny skies. 30% chance showers and scattered storms. With the low tonight nearing 80 degrees. 40% chance of rain through the holiday weekend. Going to be a little warmer tomorrow. Could be touching the mid-90s in some spots. Then close to those low 90s Sunday through the 4th. Impact Radio, 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hi, Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy. You can find out more about us at FocusOnYouStrategy.com. Also, you can follow us on our Facebook group page, called Focus Fridays. Yep. Hear more about us.
It's up there on the screen, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, thank you. Our next guest I'm really excited to talk to is Abigail Joy Doherty, is a registered dietitian based in Tampa, Florida, and the founder of the Soul of Health Nutrition, where she focuses on bringing joy into the world of food and nutrition through blending science-based information with real-life experience. Abigail is a weekly contributor and nutrition expert on WFLA News Channel 8 and contracts with businesses to promote a healthier culture within their organization through presentations, workshops, and one-on-one counseling. Some of the Soul of Health's current and past clients include New York Yankees Player Development, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Hillsborough County Government and Fire Rescue, DACO, Quest Inc., and Patel Conservatory. Abigail believes that people take nutrition way too seriously, and she wants to enable her clients, whether they be 22-year-old baseball players, 72-year-old women, or viewers of her television segments, to see that small changes in the way they look at food can make a lasting impact on their overall health. Welcome, Abigail.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Such a pleasure. So this is a huge topic. I know for me, it's a challenge every day. I feel like sometimes I eat really great and then I slack off, and, wine is four-letter word for me. Wine is one of my fave things. So tell us, about the Soul of Health Nutrition.
So the Soul of Health, I started around 4 years ago, which I can't even believe I am saying that, because I really wanted to help people and enable them to see that nutrition is so much more than a diet, but it's truly a lifestyle. And it's not about the times when, we all get off track. I always tell people dietitians make the exact same decisions that you do. Sometimes with time, they just get a little bit easier. And sometimes you're like, no, I just really want cake still, and that's
another
okay.
Four-letter word.
Yeah, but to really enable them and show them that is okay, that that one experience or those couple times when you do have the cake or you go for the wine, that doesn't mean that you're not a healthy person, but it's what you fill your whole day with, what you fill the week with. Those are like little exclamation points, because food is meant to be enjoyed.
Right.
You know, I mean, I did not get into this business so I could like be boring. Yeah. I definitely did not do that. And I want to help my clients with the same thing. You know, you can eat really anything and still be a healthy person. It's just how much of it and what you fill the rest of your diet with.
So you have 3 simple tips for staying energetic all day long. What are those?
So this is like my little top 3 I work with all my clients on. Drinking more water. I have my little water bottle with me all time.
I'm a big water
all the
drinker.
time.
Yes.
And
Do you stay away from plastic bottles?
you know what? I would say this one I just got. My husband actually purchased this. I clearly like pink, and but I really any bottle that will hold water, I would say go for it. I mean, try to stick with the BPA free, but usually nowadays it's pretty simple to do that. Glass, steel, however it comes.
Yeah.
Drinking more water. I always think, okay, so you take a shower for the outsides. Drinking water is like a shower for your insides. It really cleans out a lot of the toxins. So good for immunity. And a lot of times we think that we're hungry, but our hunger and thirst sensations are the same. So a lot of times we are actually just thirsty when we think that we're hungry. So I often tell my clients, take a big drink of water before you eat anything, regardless of if you are really hungry or thirsty, really helps.
How much water should you drink?
You know, so I get this question all the time, and I feel like people are like, that's so ambiguous, but my answer is always more. Because I truly feel like you can't possibly drink enough water. And yes, you can, but most people don't drink enough. And so I would just say more than you do, because I know that I don't count how many water bottles I fill up. But if you keep a water bottle with you at all times, or I'll tell a lot of my baseball players, I say, just set a timer. Or, you know, my clients set a timer every hour and think of it as an opportunity maybe to get up and go grab something, walk around a little bit, and take a drink of water.
I know for me, water bottles is a measurement for me. You know, how many can I have I drank today? It's usually an idea of how much I've, you know, I can measure it easier.
So I love that. Then you do. I don't count, but some people do, and that's a great reminder. I would say, like, try to go for one more than you are getting now, if that makes sense. So kind of have that little tiny bit of incentive to, okay, get one more, or finish another half.
So does it matter between bottled water and tap water? That's the big question, right?
Yeah, I know, right? In my experience, water is very good for you. So you're going to get benefits from water. So there's all these different kinds of crazy now ionized water, and you can get this type of water that's better, or this. Water.
Just water.
Water.
Just drink it.
Keep it
If you
simple.
like, some people like certain types of like mineral water. I mean, if you're getting that good, wholesome water in,
just drink it.
Drink it. Whatever kind you like. Some people like it with lemon. You can put a little fruit in your water, which is another great thing. But water. Yay, water.
Good.
Energy water.
It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the nutrition information in the news. So what's one tip you have for people to tend to not know where to start?
That is a great question. I would say the biggest thing is that skinny does not mean healthy, or that losing weight equals you are going to be healthy.
That is really good to know.
It's, you know,
second that.
Trust me,
It's really good to know.
I actually had to learn this myself, because I, as a young girl going through school, going through nutrition, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know, I got to do this and do that. And all of a sudden I was training for a marathon and not eating enough, but I was eating very healthy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not healthy. Although I am very thin, I'm not healthy. And that was like this huge, like, you know, switch in my mind that I really wanted to work with people, not only on the people who do need to lose weight for their health, but also people who might need to gain weight. Because you look at somebody and you look at them and you think, oh, they're thin, they've got to be super healthy. And it might not be the case. We can all use little tips and tricks, and maybe they need to be eating more protein.
Yeah, that's really refreshing to hear, because there's a lot of young girls that are like living by. I have a daughter, she's 7, and she's a thin kid. But I mean, when she gets older, I have a feeling that she's going to be paying attention to people on MTV and in the media that are just way too thin, that you know they're not living right, for one.
It's a battle, especially for women. But I know men deal with it too.
The image, and I hear so many people, I just want to get this last 5 pounds off. And I often try to remind them, what is it worth? Are you eating healthy? Are you getting fruits and vegetables? I would say stress that vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and clean carbs. Are you getting those things, and you're not going out of control with cake and ice cream and wine and all that stuff?
Pizza.
Well, then what is that 5 pounds really worth? Is it worth it? And if it is, then we can work on that. But a lot of times you might be really, really healthy.
I know the older I get, the less active I have become, and so I find that I'm intaking more calories than I'm actually working off, and that's probably my biggest problem is not working off what I'm taking in. So it's not so much what I'm eating as the fact I'm not as active as I used to be, and
you're not burning it.
I'm not burning it, yeah. And so that's my biggest challenge, is getting up out behind my desk all day long and taking that walk.
Yes, and that is, exercise is huge. One thing that I love about my job so much is that 80% truly is 80% is diet. And you want to get that activity level for your heart, for so many different processes in your body.
That's where the healthy comes in. Correct?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so getting that movement in, but with food, maybe it's just little tweaks, little things that maybe the composition. And I love food and nutrition because every body, I believe, is very different. There's all these people that have different intolerances, and, I get questions, oh, should I avoid gluten or dairy? Do I need to cut this out? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. There's no stock. Being a dietitian and going to school for 5 years and really getting the understanding of the body processes, you realize not everybody's the same.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I told my husband that he was like, he couldn't have dairy, I think he would like flop himself over. Like, no, I can't. But for other people, dairy really doesn't work well in their system. So every body is so different. And, just really educating people on those facts and pay attention. Because I feel like our bodies are so smart if we let them be and pay attention to those cues that we get.
So we should pay less attention to the scale and more attention to how we feel.
Ooh, yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Josh,
that was Josh. Whoa.
That was great, Josh. Congratulations.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, yes.
Do I get a cake now?
That's
and
your
a burrito.
choice. How about that?
I feel pretty good, so can I have cake?
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Abigail Joy Doherty from the Soul of Health Nutrition and talk more about what's good to eat. What is good to eat?
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's Facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
Attention medical professionals. Have you heard that Tampa Bay will become the first certified wellness district in the country? Thanks to Jeff Fennick's revitalization of Channelside, the Dr. Whisperer wants to streamline your efforts in preparation. So when you're ready to ignite your practice, use the Dr. Whisperer's public relations expertise to spread the word. Use the Dr. Whisperer to motivate your staff. And use the Dr. Whisperer to recruit and secure leaders within your practice. Call the Dr. Whisperer today at 727-420-2481 or visit thedrwhisperer.com, where they write your prescription for success.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Good morning. As we take a look at the roads around Tampa Bay, pretty good shape on our Bay Area bridges. No major delays to report. Southbound 275 as well as the southbound Veterans Expressway in good shape at this check. Westbound I-4, it is a bit slow between the Selma Connector and 275 and a crash in Pasco County on eastbound. State Road 54 at Little Road, left lane blocked here. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson Udrich. Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Lead Safe America. More than 1 in 3 American kids has lead in their blood. No level of lead is safe. Lead poisoning causes learning disabilities and behavioral disorders. Has your child been tested? Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org.
A 30% chance for inland showers and thunderstorms. High 90, partly cloudy tonight, low 79. Tomorrow and Sunday, a 30% chance for rain. High both days, 90.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hi, Julianne Nichols here, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, guest hosting for Jamie Maloney today on Focus Fridays. And in the studio, we have Abigail Joy Daugherty, and she is the founder of the Soul of Health Nutrition. Earlier, we were talking about these 3 simple tips for staying energetic all day long, and we kind of got on a tangent with water, which is a big important step. But what are the other 2?
So water, the next one is, I call them winning combinations. It's combining clean carbs, lean protein, and healthy fats at every meal or snack. And that really helps to satiate you, but also there are so many cool things. Like, say if you're eating vegetables, if you just ate spinach by itself, you wouldn't be getting all the amazingly good things out of that spinach. It needs some carriers like fat and protein. Same thing, like each of them complement each other so well. It's like the macros love each other. They really, and they work in your body the best way when they're together.
That's a big aha moment for me.
My mom was like, what? I'm like,
yeah, it's kind of the point of the 5 food groups, though, right?
Yes, exactly. And then adding on to that, my third tip is vegetables. So water, clean carbs, healthy fats, lean protein, and eating more vegetables.
So describe clean carbs. What is clean carbs?
So that's a good question. So I think of those root vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yes, you can make a potato very unhealthy, but a potato in and of itself, especially with the skin, you get that fiber. You can make that extremely healthy for you, and they provide a lot of energy. Other clean carbs, fruit. They actually do. You got to put them in that fruit category because they do have a lot of carbohydrates in them. Brown rice, and it's not that gluten is bad, but there are things that have just one ingredient, like those potatoes or quinoa, brown rice, that work very well in our bodies. I always think that your body loves food that's closest to the source. There's not a lot of processing and ingredients that your body has to kind of figure out what to do with. Mm-hmm. They're like, I know rice, I know add apple, and we know how to deal with that.
So the important part of this that I'm understanding from you is that combining these is most important. Like
yes.
If we just eat vegetables all the time, that's not going to be enough. If we just eat fruit all the time, so sometimes vegan diets, well, right, and sometimes vegan diets can prevent us from being healthy because of the fact that we're missing some of the important things that we have to put together.
It just takes a little bit more thought. You have to really think about getting those getting the clean carbohydrates from different sources. If you cut out gluten, you're going to need to figure out how to put in good, clean carbohydrates and still be able to check that box off. Usually they have no problem. You have no problem doing that. And a lot of times I find that my clients, if they do cut out gluten, you have to then, a lot of the things that then you add into your diet, like brown rice or quinoa, they're just cleaner ingredients, so they do end up feeling better. But you can definitely have a healthy diet while eating gluten. It just, just think about stuff. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I just love about this is it's a little simple roadmap. You might not like spinach, but you like zucchini or something like that. So that's the vegetable that you would eat, or the multiple vegetables that you like, fruits, the clean carbs you like, the healthy fats that you like, avocado, olive oil, olives, nuts, seeds, whatever ones you like, eat them. But, and each person has a different combination of those things that works for them.
We have some food allergies in our household.
Okay.
And so sometimes that hinders us from being able to eat a lot of things. For instance, mine is bacon, which everybody freaks out every time I say that. And which is not really a bad thing to be allergic to because I don't really need it. My husband would say otherwise. He loves bacon. But his is like peppers. And so we find these ingredients in a lot of things anymore. Bacon is everywhere, I tell you.
It is right now, too. If you go to restaurants, you're like, is there no bacon in this?
I have to ask every time because it's not pretty. And my husband has an allergy to peppers.
Like red and green
peppers.
Like
fresh peppers.
Okay.
Dry he does fairly well, but anything fresh, and that's in everything as well. So there are certain,
things.
When we go out, we're always eating each other's allergies because it's the only time we really get a chance to. So he gets his bacon, I get my peppers, we're good. So how can allergies and things like that, how can we get around those and still eat healthy? Ours are not necessarily the healthiest, but there are people who have allergies to dairy or, basic things.
Well, and the nice thing now, a lot of people will have intolerances and allergies. There's a difference as far as, but I definitely understand what you mean as far as getting those things in. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more creativity. And, at least with his peppers, you can have tomatoes or a host of different vegetables. And with bacon, I kind of love that although you can fit bacon into a healthy diet. If you can't have it, can't have it.
Right.
Like
I like bacon. It just doesn't like me.
It just doesn't like you.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So
and just kind of trying to be creative. I would say either way, always read the ingredient list. If you want to know my top tip for reading a nutrition label, you're like, do I look at fat? Do I look at calories? Look at sugar? I would always look at the ingredient list first. that will help people with allergies, and you will see now they have to have a big bold thing at the bottom that says contains soy or dairy.
Right.
The reason why I think you want to read the ingredient list is it tells you what the label is going to look like. You know, if the first ingredient is almonds, you're going to know that it has a high fat content, but you're like, but it comes from a great source like almonds. So then you wouldn't, because what if you picked it up and you looked at the fat source first and you put it back on the shelf because you're like, oh, this has too much fat in it. But knowing that it comes from that whole food source is
It's
so
a good
great.
fat.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could be cutting out the good fat.
Right.
That's exactly
and you
what I
didn't
was
even
gonna say.
realize it. So looking at the ingredient list will tell you
But
allergens.
Our allergies are pretty minor compared to some. Like I have a friend who's allergic to wheat and corn. So like, where does he? I mean, it's like what doesn't have that? You know, and how do you get around that?
Well, and those things, again, it's really checking those labels. And then for me, I would think, so you can do potatoes, you can do rice, quinoa, as far as for those carbohydrate sources.
To replace that.
To replace that. And then, you know, fruits and vegetables, because a ton of that stuff. And then getting lean proteins, that healthy fat. You really can, within any one diet plan or allergy or intolerance, you can fit stuff in and figure it out. It sometimes takes a little creativity. So
I hear you have a funny way to help your clients eat more veggies. What is that?
Oh, I was hoping we'd get to that. So I call it the spinach challenge. And not that, I wish I could do it right now for you guys, not that, you know, other vegetables are amazing for you, but I find this one to be the easiest to do this with. So basically, you get a handful of spinach, and instead of making a green,
raw?
just raw spinach, usually baby because it's a little bit easier. And instead of making a green smoothie or, you know, sauteing it, doing whatever, you just shove it in your mouth. Eat it, 15 seconds, done, and you just had a big salad, right?
I could do it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would
am.
have brought spinach with me today so we could all do it. I do like really stupid videos on my social media, like before heading to the airport, or I actually did one at the airport, and I had this lovely gentleman film it for me. Now, people who follow my page are like, where's the next spinach challenge going to be? I work with it. I mean, any of my clients know that.
Hopefully it catches on and gets rid of that stupid cinnamon challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a horrible
Yeah.
challenge.
And that is no. It's even going to be in Health Magazine, I think, next month. That tip
to not do it.
try the spinach
Try the
challenge.
spinach
yeah,
challenge.
get your vegetables in. It doesn't have to be pretty or perfect. It was like 15 seconds done. If you did that twice a day, veggies.
So Abigail, tell us how we can find you. Where
Okay.
can we find you to if we want to know more?
So my Facebook page is The Soul of Health Nutrition. You can email me, Abigail, at thesoulofhealth.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I would say my Facebook and Instagram pages are going to be the most fun to follow me, or
Great.
my website,
I'm already a
thesoulofhealth.com.
I'm already a fan. I'm looking at her website right now, and it has lightened up chocolate chip cookies. So
Nice.
I am
It is
sold.
possible. You can have that exclamation point.
Well, thank you, Abigail Doherty, founder of the Soul of Health Nutrition, and thank you everyone for allowing me, Jamie, for allowing me to guest host today on That Business Show.
You did a great job.
Thank you very much. Where business becomes show business, and we'll see you in a couple weeks on Focus Friday.